Hi. Go away. You go away. Are we recording? Cool. I'm going to embed this view controller in a navigation controller. Let nav controller equal a UI navigation controller that has as its root view controller this thing called view controller. Great. I'll say the root view controller for my actual window is that nav controller. Now when I run it, cool, now there's a navigation bar, which means I can add navigation and be able to go back and forth. Great. So let's say I want to add something to that navigation bar. I guess I could say lazy bar, I don't know, plus button equal to a UI tab bar item, an item in a UI tab bar. Great. Let's see how we can actually make that do some stuff. Item. Okay, let button equal UI tab bar item. Button dot. And let's see what we can do to it. Oh no. System items that can be used in a tab bar. Equal to nothing. Great. Let's see how to add a button to our navigation bar. Add button with storyboard. No. I'd add a bar button to a navigation bar. Hacking with Swift. Navigation bar. Navigation item dot left bar button item. So if I have a navigation bar, you don't put bar items directly in the nav bar. Instead, you belong to a UI navigation item that is currently active on the navigation bar, which in turn is currently owned by the navigation control. Great. Okay. So I want to add a UI bar button item with some action. So not a tab bar. UI bar button item. UI bar button item. Great. Going to have it be something with a target and an action. So we'll say system item is any UI bar button item dot system item dot. There's some options. I'll make it the add one. I should be able to get rid of those things. And it knows it's a member of some enum or some public group. Target is going to be equal to, I guess, self. And then we need to create an Objective-C selector function here, right? This is where we do that whole hash selector. And then the name of that function, which is navigate to add screen. So this is going to be a button. In the top right, I press it. It navigates to the next screen. For now, I'm just going to return that button. Let's see if that works. There's an error here because there's no function called navigate to add screen. So I'm going to create a private function called just that. It's going to say move to the next VC. Great. What do I need to do to make this selector work? I need to make sure that this is an Objective-C function. I need to expose this function to the Objective-C runtime. What does that mean? Who cares? Let's see if that button shows up before we add an action to it. It's not there. Probably need to say, put my bar button item in my navigation bar. Self.navigation controller dot what? Dot what? Right. Self.navigation item dot right var button item is equal to a plus button. Maybe. Let's see. There it is. Hey there, buddy. Okay, now it's going to do something. Blah, blah, blah. Make this here. Put that there, just to make it look nice. Okay, so my navigate to add screen is going to eventually self.navigation controller.push view controller something. That's what we do to navigate programmatically, is we push the view controller onto our navigation controller. This guy is embedded in this navigation controller. So now I got to create a new view controller. Yay! Yay! Okay, it's going to be a UI view controller. I'm going to call this the create item view controller. No zib for it. Let's put this in unit 4 review. Yes. Create item view controller. I'm going to just, I'll organize this later. Create item view controller. There's my view did load. I probably need to add some things here. If an item has a name, a price, and an image, I will probably need to do something like var name input. It's going to be, what's a type that people like for input? Real quick. UI text. Field sounds good. All right. Let's create an instance of that UI text field in disclosure. So we have an instance of UI text field. We don't need to give it a frame because we're going to constrain it. Text field dot, I don't know, placeholder. That's probably a string that will appear when no input is in there. So for our name input, we'll say enter a string, and then we can return our text field. Great. Let's make pretty much the same thing. Let me change this placeholder, enter a name. That probably makes more sense. Then I'll say, get a name input. What do the requirements say for the price? Use a stepper. Great. So let's say price stepper is a UI stepper. Let stepper be a UI stepper, again with no frame. I'll say stepper dot maximum value. I'm going to say is 100. Stepper dot minimum value. It's going to be 0. Stepper dot, I don't know, can we do increment? No. Stepper dot stepper dot step value, the increment value for the stepper. Great. So say that everything is between 0 and 100, and things only count by 5. And one last thing I want to do with my stepper. So I want to say its current value is going to be 0 when it's instantiated. Then I'm going to return that stepper. Last but not least, we need a way to add an image. I'm not super interested in doing that. We'll just add an image later on. I'm running out of disk space. Give me 30 seconds. Let's see what happens here. Scan. Go away. selector to that bar button item up here. That selector calls navigate to add screen, which just navigates to the create item view controller. Let's keep laying that bad boy out. We've added the subviews. We got to constrain those subviews. Private func constrain subviews. It's going to call things I'll also call constrain stepper and constrain name. Those will also be private functions. So private func constrain, wow, good job. Constrain name. This is all programmatic UI stuff. My goal here is just to add each of these views, then call this guy just like we did in the other view controller, add those things. Let's add some constraints. I'm going to turn off the resizing mask because we're setting our constraints manually. Then I'm going to say ns layout constraint, activate this array of constraints. I'm going to say the name input should be above the stepper. We'll just have them laid out vertically again. So let's say the name input dot vertical, top anchor dot constrain to self dot view dot top anchor, but 100 points down from there. Then name input dot center x dot constraint. It's this centered on the center x of the view. So I've only set a top anchor, a center x anchor. Let's run it and see what happens. I don't see anything. Dang. All right. Guess we need to probably set an x and a y. Nope, we got those. Sorry about that. We need to set a size. The name input dot height anchor dot constraint equal to, let's make this 150 points high. And let's make the width anchor equal to self dot view dot frame dot width divided by 2. Its width is going to be half the width of the view in which it appears. Let's see if that works. Oh man, there's an error. Dang. Name input dot width. Well, that's because I want the width anchor. That makes more sense. Oh, I don't see anything. Ah, there it is. All right, let's get rid of this awful red background. Supposedly it's still pink. Go ahead. Whoa. Where'd it go? I probably need a background color. I'll just make it white. There you are. Hey, buddy. type. I guess not. I guess it froze. That's great. Let's get rid of the keyboard. This is fun. What's going on with my keyboard? Go away. Oh, that's really fun. All right, let's keep going and see if we can get it to work after. Let's constrain the stepper. So stepper dot translate. What do you call it? Price stepper. Price stepper dot translate equal to false. Let's do our constraining. Price stepper dot top anchor dot constraint equal to the name input dot bottom anchor, but 30 points away from there. Price stepper dot height constraint is going to be equal to, let's make it 70 tall. Price stepper width is going to be 50 wide. And then let's say its trailing anchor is lined up with the input box's trailing anchor. So it'll appear on the right box. Sorry? Trailing anchor dot constraint equal to name input dot trailing anchor. Cool. Let's see what happens. There we go. I go there. There it is. Yay. I should probably set up something so that I can see the price. Let's do that real quick. Var price value. I mean int, which gets its value from, nah, 0. We'll use a did set to say, I agree. Lazy var price label is going to be a UI label that we'll create by saying that label equal UI label, that label. Ah man, now we have to constrain this guy. I set my price, my label, price label dot text is equal to string of price value. I'm going to make this a double actually, so it's easier for us to work with. When we convert between CG float and double, like we will often do. The last thing I have to do is figure out how to capture the value of a stepper programmatically. So let's figure that out. How to get value of UI stepper programmatically. So we're not using an ID action. So a way to programmatically change it. I don't think that's what I want. Ah, we could add a target. Let's see what happens there. So when I initialize the stepper, stepper.add target, cool. Target cares, the action is going to be some selector for some function. Let's call that function stepper value changed. The sender is going to be that thing. And the event is going to be, let's just say all events, anytime someone touches it. Now we got to make a private function for that. Private func stepper value change sender is a UI stepper. When the stepper value changes, we're just going to set this price value equal to that stepper's stepper sender, sorry. Sender dot value. Ah, it's a double, that's great. Okay. Oh man, is that what this error means? Makes sense. I have to do the thing for me. This needs to be an Objective-C function because it's some action taking place on something in UIKit, which is on the Objective-C runtime, blah, blah, blah. Let's see if this works. Why is it not going to work? Why am I not going to see anything related to that label? I'm not going to, Objective-C and IB action are like doing the same thing here, but I haven't added it as a subview, and I haven't constrained it. So self.view.add subview, say price label, and then I'm going to create a function called constrain price label. Go, go, go. Doing great. Private func constrain price label. Okay, price label dot translates all that stuff to false. NS layout constraint dot activate some array of things. All our programmatic stuff. It's so fun. Price label dot height anchor dot constrain. We're going to make that equal to, let's say, 25. Price label dot center x label dot center x anchor dot constraint. It's going to be constraint. It's going to be equal to the center of our. Oh, I see. I actually want to set this up so that it is lined up along the left side here and then spaced out to the stepper here. So I'm not going to use the center, sorry about that. I'm going to say its leading anchor should be equal to the leading anchor of the name input. Name input dot leading anchor, and I'm going to say price label dot trailing anchor constraint. It's going to be less than or equal to constraint less than or equal to the stepper's leading price stepper dot leading anchor at a distance of 40 or less. So that's saying the space between the end of my label and the beginning of the stepper is going to be 40 or less. So it'll give my label room to stretch to the right if needed. Probably will not need it, but if you're lining things up like this, that's probably great. I'm also going to set them so they have the top same top anchor, so they're aligned vertically. Let's see if this all works. Yep. Price label. Well, actually, if they're of different heights, then it won't be the same. And say its top anchor is equal to the price stepper's top anchor as well. All right, let's see if it works. Let's make sure I've used all these things. I add the subview, I constrain that subview, I run it. Boom. Oh man. What about now? Ah, there it is. Aren't you doing anything? Dang. Oh. I think we should just give up. What? Let's go look at my action. Great. What's that? Huh. It's not getting triggered every time I press this. Now it is, though. So this is a target action and object method with the control. What's the target? I don't know. Or value changed. All right, maybe it's a different kind. We can with the lazy bar. This guy? Let's take a look. Okay. Let's keep that there. All right, it's 5. Aha. So when I was doing it for all events before, it was changing it before the value of the stepper actually changed, and then the stepper stayed the same. That was weird. So for a stepper to change, I need to use this UI control event called value changed. Sounds great to me. All right. Continuing. Press U. It's like not pressing it, which is kind of upsetting. Let's look at our minimum and our maximum. Step value is 5, our minimum value is 0. Why doesn't that work? My simulator is great. How dare you? The action is this target. This is really cool. I like how it's not doing anything. Let's see if the other things work. Also really cool. All right, great simulator. How about now? Cool. Why are you freezing? This rules. I love it. Add subviews, add target, add labels, placeholder, text field. Yeah. All right, this is really working really poorly, which is pretty cool. I'm going to just keep going because what we want to do right now is persist stuff. So let's just persist stuff. I'm going to add one more thing, which is a button. Submit button, which is a UI button. Let button equal UI button. Button dot image is UI image dot check mark. Sounds great. Turn button. How exciting is this? Add as a subview. Submit button. There are going to be 3 view controllers. 2 of them you can pretty much use the same UI for them. Yeah. Everything is programmatic tomorrow. Oh, aren't we seeing that? Yes. I know that. I am going to have stuff, there is stuff already built for you. That stuff is like all the scene delegate stuff. So in the scene delegate, it's going to be the tab bar controller and all the tabs that you need for that tab bar controller. Yeah, but it might have taken a little while to figure out how to get those all to work the right way. Just saying. You could probably even just use 2 classes. Anyway, for your view controllers, let's keep going. This is fun. I like how the simulator is not working. That's my favorite part so far today. Quick show of hands, who likes that? Submit button. Submit button. Its height is going to be equal to 40. Submit button's width. It's going to be equal to 40. Submit button. Top anchor, that constraint is going to be constraint is going to be equal to the price stepper's bottom constraint, but with a distance of 60. Great. And lastly, submit button is going to be centered in the X direction to self.view.centerX. Anchor. All right, let's see if it shows up. Where's that button at? There you are, buddy. Ah, current image is that. What about? Let's make it an image. Dang, image is a method. What about set image? It's gonna be check mark for state. Feeling normal. This button we need to give an action. Let's make sure it showed up first. Oh, hey, there it is. Look how cute it is. Let's make it a little bigger. 80 by 80. button, dot, add target. All right, fine, stay that small. Button, dot. Why is it so small? That makes me sad. I appreciate. That's okay. Selector. Submit. Button pressed. For some event. Let's say touch. Touchdown. Touch up inside. A touch up event in the control where the finger is outside the bounds of the control. Nah. Let's do a touchdown for now. It's probably a better one we could use, but hey, time is a limited resource. At Objective-C, private, func. When we press the submit button, what should happen? It should create a new cell, and I want to persist it. We do have a model for our item, but now we need persistence and persistence helpers. Can someone please just Slack me the persistence and persistence helpers, blah, that stuff. And I think I'll add the generic persistence helper to your project for tomorrow. Yeah, might as well. Thank you, Sam. I can always trust Sam. All right. So, I'm going to commit this. Git add dot git commit. Add pt3. Persistence work in progress. Git push. Create a new Swift file. Persistence helper. Boom. Thanks again, Sam. All right. Boom. Item. Persistence helper. Item persistence helper. What is this list? Well, I hope it works. Let's find out. Okay. So I've got my helpers. Let's make this work. To do, I need to add validations to fields. Make sure there is all the right info. You will need to do this tomorrow. I would recommend doing it last. You'll need to validate your fields, but when you look at the standards for the assessment, you will see that it's not included in the standards. So do all the stuff in the standards first. Cool. It's not on the, not in the rubric or the standards, but it's part of the project. Like, you know, you might make something and not every bit of it is going to be assessed. But for the app to work correctly, in our opinions, it should have validations. Like if this is a form, which if it ever worked, it would be. If I hit submit, it should tell you, like, if there's no value in the name, it should tell me that doesn't exist. So for the item, I'm going to say whatever is in self.name input.text, or something gross. Price, it's going to be whatever is assigned to the price value. And then the image is going to be some empty data, because it doesn't matter right now. Yay! Item, persistence helper. Dot. Ooh, is there a singleton? I hope so. Dot manager, dot save. An item. Ah, it's a throwing function, so I need a block in which I try. Catch. Sam's favorite thing to do. Try doing this. If it breaks, do that. What is the last thing I should do once I hit submit? If I've completed this form, so to speak. If I want to hit submit and go back without pressing back. Yeah, self.navigation controller. Pop. View controller. True. Let's animate it. All right. All right, it worked, I think. Cool. The only way to know if it works is we're going to have to load that model in here. So, create private var called items, which is an array of item. And I'm going to say when we did set it, we will self.collection view. Come on, dude. Reload, something like that. All right, reload data. Cool. Now I'm going to need to get the items in the view did load. Items equal to item persistence helper dot manager dot get items. We probably got to try this and do this and all that stuff. Try. If it doesn't work, we'll catch an error. Yeah, why would you recommend that? Interesting. So you're saying when we go backwards, it's not going to call the view did load. I agree. Let's do it there. So let's override the other view lifecycle thing. Try to load the items. Catch that. Doesn't work. I'm just going to print out didn't get items. And I'm going to stop this because now I need to reconfigure this guy. I'm going to say this is equal to items.count. I'm going to say this text is going to get its stuff from item equal items at index path dot index path. Let's go with that. Text is going to be item dot. Come on, dude. Ah, man, it won't work. Why not? This index path is not an int. Row dot item. Ooh, value the item element of the index path. Let's see what happens. Item dot name. Item dot price. Oh, it's a double. I gotta turn it into a string. All right, let's see what happens. So, if we do what I was just talking about before in the, if that create form worked, this should actually load some for us right now. Cool. So it loaded 3 that are all $0 because I'm scared to press any of these because they seem not to work. Great. It's adding more and more, $0. Kind of stinks, but whatever. What do we want to do next? Let's do a gesture recognizer to create an animation. I think that's all we're going to get today. I don't think user defaults is particularly important for tomorrow. And the custom delegation will look very familiar to anyone who created the photojournal app. You know, if you did that assignment. I would say it's going to look more similar to the photojournal app if you're studying things. All right, so let's add gesture recognizers. What do we want to add a gesture recognizer to? What? The stepper. Let's add it to this cells for a long press. So, how do we want to do this? Lazy bar, pressed cell, gesture, long pressed cell gesture, which is a UI long press gesture recognizer equal to let gesture equal UI long press gesture recognizer gesture dot. What can we do to it? A whole bunch of things. Minimum press duration, minimum, hold on, time interval. The minimum period fingers must press on the view for the gesture to be recognized. All right. Let's see what a time interval is. A number of seconds. Cool. That's great. Let's initialize a new one of those. That is exactly 1 second. We must hold this down. Let's make it 2 seconds. I will return the gesture. Should I return the gesture or should I do something else? Boom. I want to add a target to it. Make it do something. Create a new function that does something. So I got to create an Objective-C function all the way down here. Not there. Objective-C, private func. What do you guys want to call it? Held. Nope. Long pressed cell. Oh no. What should we have it do? For now, let's just have it print to make sure it worked. Print stuff, please. Okay. Long pressed gesture. Great. Now, if something needs this gesture, how do we assign it? Cool. So when I'm setting up my cells, I can add a gesture recognizer. What is that gesture recognizer? Long pressed cell gesture. Let's see if it works. If I press it, it should print out stuff, please. This long press has to last 2.0 seconds. Pretty long freaking press, that's right. And make the phone vibrate? Seems like it's not working. That's a shame. I think I might have to do it this exactly. Time. Let's get rid of that. Just run it. Dang. Any suggestions? I don't know, but I do have a very important note. How to add gesture recognizer to collection view cell. If you're using interface builder, you can drag and drop. No. How to add a gesture for this guy. Okay, I added it. I have done as per the below suggestions. I'm not able to get to where I add a UI tap gesture recognizer in the custom cell. That sucks, dude. Let's see what some answers are. You can solve this by using either of the following concepts: delegation, closures, notifications. Protocol. Wow. I don't want to do any of that. I could delegate that responsibility? That sounds great. It's probably something like this. I hope so. Do I need to enable user interaction? The cell itself. So the cell responds to did select row at, but in order to set it so you can actually do stuff to it, I don't know, let's see. Damn, that's not it. Let's keep trying. Let's keep looking. The reason I'm doing this right now is because I think, just in my own personal opinion, you're probably going to need something like this tomorrow. So here, they're testing something out. They have the did select item at. They also have the UI tap gesture recognizer. Okay, and so they wanted to see which of these works, if I tap it or if I select the item. And they said the tap gesture works. Cool. I don't know. If you want to add the gesture recognizer but not steal the touches, that sounds great. Let's just make our tap gesture this guy. Get rid of you altogether. Just add the gesture recognizer right here. Let gesture be a UI tap gesture recognizer. So that's that. Cell.add gesture, this gesture. And let's see what happens. Yay. I didn't have to. I think I should have just done it as a tap gesture before. The long press is like kind of a pain in the butt. And you will only need a tap gesture for tomorrow. Yay! All right, last thing. Let's animate something. Anything. Yeah. Yep. So that's the documentation I was just looking at here. Someone tested out if I have a tap gesture and it did select item mat, which one gets triggered? And they found out, the tap overrides it. And someone suggested adding it, but not stealing the touches from the target view. You can do some stuff to make sure that both work. I would recommend just focusing on using one of those things. And honestly, what we just did for this cell, with the tap gesture recognizer, we could have just used the did select row app. Yeah. So if you wanted a different gesture recognizer to work, like swiping it to the right or the left, then you could have added a gesture recognizer. I'm going to emphasize you do not need to know that, because I want to put your minds at ease about the stuff you should actually know. You should know how to persist things. You should know how to make a collection view. You should know how to animate something. Let's animate something. Let's see. Cell.gesture recognizers. Oh, it's an array of gesture recognizers. So yeah, you could. So if you had like a swipe left and a swipe right gesture recognizer, they would both be on the same cell. It's hard to like fine tune it sometimes because a lot of gestures are similar to each other, but just like view.subview is an array of views, view.gesture recognizers is an array of gesture recognizers. All right, let's animate anything. What can we animate in this UI? All right, just for the sake of demonstration, let's say when we hit the submit button, the top anchor of this glorious text field, which keeps freezing my app, increases in size by 50. I don't know. So we'll need to grab this top constraint, make it its own var. Sam, can you Slack me the code for this? I'll just steal it from my animations intro. Animations. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because otherwise you're going to have conflicting constraints. Yep. There's that top anchor. Okay. Lazy var, top anchor. For what? Name, input, top anchor, constraint, which is an NS layout constraint, is equal to that guy. Cool. Now let's see. Name input. And input U. We're going to activate U. Okay. So let's just make sure that worked. And all I want to do is change the action of the submit button. So rather than adding things, which we demonstrated, we are going to change the constraint between the top of this and the safe area. View. Where are you at? Okay. So that guy's made constant. Yeah. Self.view to top anchor. It's 100 down from there. All right. Ah, shit. Oh. Specifically, and it's much easier than this. No. I've given you so much more information than I usually do. All right, let's not do this animation, and instead, I will show you the animation you might want to practice. How's that? All right. Like, do you know how much this hurts me right now? Okay. Remember this one where we made a block fall down? Not this one. It's going to load in just a sec. Uh-huh. Yep. You know this does something when you touch it? What you're going to have to do tomorrow is touch this. You can complete the statement. Please don't complete the statement. Please don't complete the statement. Yeah. Touch something and have that thing do something. So you're going to touch this box and say I had a gesture recognizer, which I do on my view. Let's see what that gesture recognizer does. Okay, instead of printing it, we're going to say UIView.animate with duration 3. My view.background color is going to be red. Y'all remember this? Thanks. So if I hold this down, it crashed. Oh man, I can't believe I admitted that. Does anyone remember why it crashes? Because, where's my tap gesture? Okay, just want it there. And then I want my view to add that gesture recognizer somewhere. Self.myView. All right, another 3 seconds. It turned red. Then I can add all that reverse stuff, but the biggest thing is just that when I interact with some view somewhere, that view does something in response to it and perhaps animates that change. Do y'all remember another kind of animation group that we could have used instead of animate? Let's see. Transform? No. Transition? Cool. You have to specify the view, specify the duration. Let's make it 2 seconds. Animating options. What are those options again? All that stuff. Isn't it delightful? Where's the one where it flips? I like that one. All right, let's see what that is.
You have to put it in square brackets.
So options is an array, if I recall. So you could put multiple in here. Remember how we did like repeat and auto reverse? What's that? Yeah, so the transitions you can only use one of, but you could have this repeat and do all that stuff. And what did I say? Nope, that's not it. My view dot background color dot. Nope, there's that red. Make this completion block nil. So now when I hold, when I hold down my view, I mean, I can see it, you can't, but